Hi kawan, welcome to EDCReady. Today we are doing a full disassembly and maintenance of this guy. This is the Protech Malibu. There it is, that's Protech, that's Malibu. Now, I've had this guy for about 5 to 6 days now, just been flipping it non-stop. This has just been the fidgetiest knife I've ever owned. And in that process, the centering has actually kind of gone off a little bit. Now, I did test out like what hex bits this uses, so I have unscrewed it and tightened it back, but it has kind of gotten uncentered over time, so let's fix that, shall we? Now, that being said, it's not touching any of the scales on either side. We now have a little bit of blade play. There wasn't any blade play when I unboxed the knife, but there is some now. And yeah, action is great, detent is great. Let's see what we can do on the inside. So this knife is kind of weird in the sense that it has hex bits and T6 screws. So normally you only have hex bits like in Sebenza's, Chris Reeves knives, or you have Torx bits, which is in almost every other knife out there. Now with that being said, I'm going to take out these two screws here in the back. They are using I believe this is a 1.5 hex bit, but I've tested it. You can use T6 screws on everything, but my T6 screws are kind of mangled up a little bit, so I am not going to risk it on these knives. These are long screws, these go into the back. That's weird. See, it has here some Loctite, which is red in color. However, it is not like red, like hard Loctite, because this came out without a problem. Let's try this side. Okay, just a little bit of force you need to put in. Again, red Loctite. But it's not the hard ones that you find that you can't take screws out. Okay, now this is my first time ever taking apart a button lock knife, and I've been told that the actual button itself is actually spring loaded, so it might pop up and maybe hit the camera. So I'm just going to be a little bit careful. I am going to first take out the T6 screws holding in the stop pin, which is over here. Okay, a little bit tighter. I'm just gonna press down on it to make sure that the button doesn't pop out. Put this over here, and then back to the hex bit. Okay, this guy, I have loosened it before, so it should be fine. And there we go. Again, red Loctite, but not like the hard stuff. Okay, now, how do we take this guy apart? Slowly is the answer. Okay, the back spaces are out, so that's good. Something clicked. There we go. And we're open. Okay, I'm gonna press this in a little bit so that I can wiggle the blade loose. And there we go. That is the spring. Okay. That was easier than anticipated. Let's hope I didn't speak too soon. So there's a little spring. So this little spring stays in here. Okay, and then that puts pressure onto this guy that pops it upwards pretty much. And from there, that's how the button lock works. And as you can see here, this little gap here is where the button lock itself goes into. Yeah, it goes in like that. And then that's how it sticks open. And then once you depress it, it will disengage, and then it'll go back into its little space right there. Then it'll disengage to somewhere there, and then that's when you can rotate around. Alright, so other than that, pretty straightforward. Let's put this guy apart. Take out the bearings. Now, I want to maintain everything in its place as much as possible because simplicity is the key to life. We have some gunk on the pivot itself here. I'm just going to clean that with a little microfiber cloth, which I have not cleaned in a long time. This used to be my paintball cloth. I used to clean my paintball gear with this guy. So it's seen some really good use. Okay, that's clean. Let's clean up the little stop pin here. All these have a little bit of dark grease or something on it. Okay, so as you can see here, no internal milling on the aluminium scales. However, aluminium is very light. Like comparatively, it's as light as, I would say, titanium, but it's going to be strong enough. I don't know why some people fear aluminium, thinking that it's not going to be strong enough. If your aluminium scales are going to break on you, you are using it way too hard. It's not like aluminium cans that are like paper thin. This is like a good How thick are these? Do I have my calipers? No. Yeah, these are good, like, I don't know, quarter inch. Yeah, like an eighth of an inch kind of thickness of aluminium. So that's good. Okay, let's clean the blade. The blade's made out of 20 CV. Fantastic blade shape. I love it. And I like how sterile the blade is. The only thing you see up here on the blade is at the top here, Protech. And then you see 20 CV over here, which is at the back of the flipper tab. It's a nice sterile blade. Keeps everything nice and clean. Alright, so now let's lube it up. See if we can already improve this just amazing action that we have here. Stick that in there. Through that there. We have steel ball bearings here. Very nice. Okay, now let's see now how we're gonna put everything back. Okay, so this is where I go into no man's territory because I've never put back together one of these guys before. Alright, let's just add a little bit of lube in here. Now there is quite a bit of lock stick. Now, when I say quite a bit, it's not really that bad. But I suppose lock stick is good because it kind of helps it kind of stay in place a little bit better. And I really do enjoy that. I'm just going to put a little bit there. Just a little bit there. Yeah, just a little bit on the blade here. Just to clean up the edges a little bit. A little bit lock stick is good, as I was talking about, sorry. So a little bit lock stick is quite good because it just helps everything just stay in place a little bit better. Now, how was this positioned earlier? Okay, let me just figure this out a little bit. There we go. Is this the right way to do it? No, that is not the right way to do it. Okay, so from the looks of it, what I gotta do is I gotta press this guy in first, all the way in to its hole, then put the blade in. Okay, okay, there we go. I think that's how you're supposed to do it. Okay, so how it works is that it stops there and this guy needs to go into his hole. There we go. There we go. So what I need to do is I need to put it in together with the blade, put it in his little flipper hole right here, and then just press everything flat and everything should go in there like that. And then once we torque everything down, it should stay together quite nicely. Even now, not bad, but you can always spring load. You can always like spring out because it is spring loaded. So just keep that in mind. Just gonna add a bit of lube here, bit of lube there. Okay. Okay, so everything's lining up. That's great. Okay, we will start with the pivot because that kind of holds in the button lock at the same time. Okay, that's good. Now I do want to put a little bit Loctite because I can feel that this pivot has a tendency to unscrew itself, but I'm gonna assemble the knife first and then remove this screw and then add the Loctite in because I want to make sure that that spring stays captive. 9 minutes in and I'm almost done. That is quite short for me. Sometimes this, I think my record for the longest disassembly video was like 30 odd minutes. It was a Gonzo G-lock, which is like similar to an Axis lock type situation. That one was a full disassembly. Okay, so you gotta press it down a little bit for the screws to bite. Alright, cool. So let's check the centering. Centering is, you can see that there's a little line right down the middle and you can kind of use that to judge centering. So a little bit off to the clip side. How's the action? Action is great. no blade play. Let's see what we can do. I am going to add a little bit of Loctite. Some of this stick style Loctite thread locker in medium strength blue. I'm just going to remove that. Take that out. As you can see, I haven't used this very much. It's a very curious smell. The minute I take this out, I smell shoe polish, which is what I used to wash my I used to polish my dad's leather shoes in the past. A bit of nostalgia. And I'm done. No blade play, that's good. Action is just as great as before. Centering is still a little off. Now, one thing you can do is that after you tighten down the front here, what can happen is that the sides, these back screws, kind of go out of alignment. So just loosen them up. And let's see now, are we closer to center? Okay, yeah, we are pretty close to center now. Loosen that up. You know what, let's just loosen up the stop pin a little bit, just so that we can try to get everything back in alignment. And then we just retighten everything. So you can use T6 on this guy. I wouldn't recommend it because it's not the right screw for this hex bit. But I'm not tightening it just yet. Okay, tighten that. Now to tighten the back screws. The great thing about this is that everything's in full tolerance, like there's no blade play, and then it's completely drop shutty when everything's fully tight. Like the minute like there is a little bit of looseness in here, it is going to gonna have some blade play. But now at maximum tightness, there's no blade play, and it is perfectly drop shutty, and the action is great. Okay guys, I hope you guys liked this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and learned a little bit something about button locks, as I learned in the same process of making this video. And let's check the centering again. Centering is pretty much bang on, near perfect. Maybe just off by like ½ millimeter, but it is not enough to bother me, and honestly it shouldn't bother anyone basically. It's not touching the scales. And yeah, I have done an unboxing. Check out my first impressions, and the review will be out soon. Thanks guys, and as always, stay ready.